Hello, everyone. I know that I am on my way to the office for another late day. Sorry that I'm switching hands, but this just came on my Facebook notifications and it got to me and I wanted to talk about it, not least because it's talking about two very important things. On the one hand, it's talking about politics, and on the other hand, it's talking about consumption. Namely, the consumption of politics and what Facebook thinks you should be able to know and what content creators like myself are allowed to say, or at least allowed to pay for. Starting with the 2020 election, Facebook, because of the deserved criticism that it got and the way that it handled both the 2016 and the 22 elections, decided that what it was going to do was what it was going to put strong restrictions on advertising for anything that they deemed political or social. Well, Lace on Race falls into that category, obviously. In fact, they think, for the longest time, they thought that we were a white supremacist organization because race was in the name. And it took a lot of convincing them that it wasn't. Even still, it is almost impossible to get an ad approved by us from them. And so this ad restriction is, let's just say, pretty hypothetical for us. It doesn't really apply because they don't like our ads. Anytime that they see us, it's a fight. But I want to talk about other content creators and how this is going to affect you as a political content consumer. Facebook has a responsibility that, frankly, I think that by this heavy-handed approach, it is shirking. This is a big deal because rather than taking a mindful, conscious look at the ads they were accepting for Facebook's customers or watchers to consume, it just decided to throw the baby out with the bathwater. That's unfortunate. There are ads that were misleading, that were funded by Russian no-gooders, that were obviously something that should have been looked at, and Facebook really dropped the ball. But now, instead of doing the work of identifying truly bad actors, it's just blanketly opposing things. Well, here's the thing about Facebook. Even though I am not always... Hi, whoever it is, I just saw you. I saw you wave. I'm waving back. Even though Facebook has its issues that I am incredibly vocal about, it has been a platform that has allowed voices who would not normally have been able to be heard in both paid and unpaid ways. When we talk about Facebook ads, we're not just talking about the big corporations that are trying to sell you kombucha or floor siding. We're talking about smaller, independent pages and groups like Lace on Race who want to what's called boost their post. Now let's talk about boosting a post for a minute. Boosting a post is kind of important in the sense that small places like us who are already suppressed, because Lace on Race is already suppressed, that means we can't pay for a wider audience. We're going to go into this more, and I need to be careful. I broke a tooth. I don't want to make it worse before I can get to a dentist, so I'm going to make this short, and I can feel it. But I have, depending on who you look at in Facebook, on Facebook alone, between 7,000 and 8,000 followers. Either you've liked or you subscribed or you've done both. So let's just say 8,000. I don't see most of you. I don't get the reach for most of you. So just because I post up doesn't mean that 8,000 people see it, which is why I encourage and exhort and beg you to come to the page itself. Because if you're just waiting for Facebook to give it to you, you're going to be disappointed. That also means that if I want a larger reach, let's just say that I wanted a guaranteed reach of, say, 1,000, I have to pay about $100 to do it. If I want 2,000, it goes up. But that's only if Facebook approves of my ads. And right now, from November 3rd to November 8th, they definitely aren't going to approve any ads. not just for me, but for other people as well. And that means that the most innovative, the most salient, the people and the organizations that push the envelope are silenced effectively. Now, I know that we're suppressed more than most, but even if I was getting more than 200 or 300 organic reach, which is about what I'm getting, that still isn't great. That still means messages don't get played out. And even if we're only talking about issues and not particular candidates or particular propositions or initiatives like Lace on Race does, we are constrained by the IRS for that. That still means that our reach is limited. It still means that Facebook is deciding what you see, deciding what is good for you. Now, that's a double-edged sword. I'm holding this, okay. Do I want people to necessarily get material content paid or not, boosted or not, that is anti-Semitic, that is anti-Arab, that is racist, that is classist? Here, it gets sticky. I'm not sure that I want Facebook deciding that. I trust my audience. I have to. I trust you all. I trust that you're not going to swallow everything that I say whole. Don't swallow the entire flounder. Think for yourself, says the cult leader. Research. If I say something, research it more. Dig deeper. By the end of it, you should know more than I do. Make connections in your heads. Facebook deciding for you is very much infantilizing you. And it's lazy on Facebook's part. There is a big difference between a Russian gangster tipping the scales in a U.S. election and a nerdy, pudgy Lemon Grove housewife talking to you about kind candor and the 6 tenets. Both of which, by the way, Facebook has had a problem with. Facebook right now, despite its errors, despite its problems, is still the dominant information source for a lot of people, and it's also the biggest platform for a lot of innovative creators. Right now, there just isn't another game. So it's not like we can take all of our marbles and go home. We need Facebook to be able to trust us as content creators, or at the very least, if you don't trust us, don't allow artificial intelligence to make a choice for you or for the content creator. Having Lace on Race in my name and then having some automation that doesn't have human hands attached to it decide that it's a white supremacist group automatically makes Facebook's discernment suspect. That means you're going to have to dig deeper. You are going to have to find and follow and listen to innovative content creators because Facebook is not going to give them to you. If you like, we can put up a list of content creators and thinkers and commentators that I like, that Lace on Race finds informative and that informs my work. And we can put a list on, a link, so that you can see what Facebook disallows. During this election season, being informed is more important than it ever was. And being allowed to make those discernments on your own, good, bad, or indifferent, is part of being an informed and engaged citizen. We'll talk about this more, but for now, if you want to see more content, surf over. Do it yourself. Don't count on Facebook to do it for you. Not just for me, but for other content creators as well. This is the season where Facebook asserts itself. And it will be as successful. Facebook will be as successful as you allow it to be.